Hey everybody, Rose Matter here. Welcome to part 6 of my Higurashi When They Cry Meakashi Let's Play. In the last episode, Satoshi's disappearance has finally occurred, and we are no closer to figuring out what caused it. Takano is back in the game, and of course, spouting off about Oishiro-sama and demoning away and things like that, so Shion is trying to learn more about that, so hopefully we can get an answer in this chapter about Satoshi so I can finally have some dang answers about something. Also, Shion kind of snapped towards the end because she suspected Mion and the family of taking part in Satoshi's disappearance, but she seemed to kind of calmed herself down. They had a good cry, they're all good now, but how long will that last for? We shall see. So let's get back into it.
淡くて儚いシャボン玉のような恋心。空を望めばやがて壊れて消えるように、少女の思いは虚しく叶わなかった。流した涙は血の色となって生贄を求め、口をついて
Sadness turning to rage, ultimately murderous intent. We're getting into it now. Yes, I mean, what am I saying? I don't want people to be murdered. The darkness continued to spread, in the end, even to herself. Okay, here we go. We're getting full on, like, crazy Shion right now. Okay. Alright. I'm hyped. Would it be better if I hadn't been born? This blood-stained hand couldn't even grasp the air. Oh, this is quote-unquote present time, right? Right? Yes. Okay. The 4th year of the series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa, also known as Oishiro-sama's curse, 1 year after Satoshi's disappearance. Okay, so we're with, right? Keiichi? Keiichi should be showing up. I hadn't been able to get used to my new school in Okamiya, but I had some friends there now. Since I got a part-time job at my relative's store, I had some extra pocket money too. I ended up living with my parents after all, so I didn't have to pay for living expenses. It felt great to get to freely spend the money I earned from working. I still used the room Kasai set up for me from time to time. It was a convenient hideout for when I didn't want to see my parents, and that's where she got killed in chapter 2, I believe, with Mion pushing her off the balcony. But did that actually happen? I don't know. In fact, I was planning to spend a day there today. My dad got upset, and that was why I didn't want to stay at home. I had been asking for it, though. My teacher should know that my dad is a Yakuza, and that he gets really scary when he's mad. On the whole, my life has been going well so far, except that it was boring. Well, things are about to change. I don't think they're going to be boring for very long. The reason I could enjoy this lifestyle is probably because I had to live in secret before. It was a great relief to be able to live without having to fake my identity. Well, that might have been a valuable experience. I think I learned from it. I was going grocery shopping and thought I'd get enough food for a week or so. My parents would appreciate my presence more after missing me for a week. I was doing this for their sakes.
あれ？今日って確か100円セールのお店ってなかったっけ？そうだ間違いない。
I knew how to save my pocket money. I was in a good mood. I spun around with my arms spread out. I felt like I was inside a little whirlwind. My arm... I was just about to say, I was like, isn't this exactly what happened when she hit the motorcycle the first time? Or she kicked it, if I'm not mistaken. My arm hit a motorcycle parked on the sidewalk. It obviously wasn't where it was supposed to be. Okay, there we go. I gave the motorcycle a kick with no hesitation. There were 3 motorcycles lined up in a row. Here we go with, like, the kind of parallels and things happening like they did before. There's got to be something to this, why things just keep repeating themselves. They all fell like dominoes. It was beautiful and so much fun. Oh? This was odd. I felt like I'd gone through this exact same experience before. While blinking my eyes in an effort to recall what that was, some people grabbed me by the neck and dragged me into a dark alley, and you don't have Satoshi to save you this time. It looked like these punks were the owners of the motorcycles. They started shouting at me. They're like, "Girl, did you not do this to us last year? Come on, like, leave our motorcycles alone." What do you have against motorcycles? This really was strange. I was having deja vu. That's right. It was when I met Satoshi-kun for the first time. He came to save me. If I pretended to cry again now, would he come to save me again? I made a wish, and I started pretending to cry and beg for mercy. At that time, I doubted my ears. That's Keiichi, isn't it? Yep. Oh, we get to... Oh my god, we get to have a Keiichi. Holy crap, we get to have a Keiichi sprite. Or is he just going to be shrouded in, like this? It was a boy about my age. I couldn't quite see his face because of the light illuminating him from behind.
Satoshi-kun?
Of course, it couldn't be him. It couldn't be. There we go! We finally get a Keiichi sprite. When I snapped out of my daydream, I realized it wasn't Satoshi-kun after all. It's like, she's like a weird kind of siren. It's like she seems to drag boys to their eventual deaths. He looked less gracious than Satoshi-kun, so to speak. If Satoshi-kun was pristine and untouched, then this guy would have scratches all over him. But although they were completely different, I got a similar impression from him somehow. The boy looked a bit taken aback.
いや、もう泣いてるんだから、それくらいで勘弁してあげてもいいんじゃないかな、なんて。
And then he just takes off. He's like, "Bye! You got this, girl!"
なことを命にされとんじゃおらか。
うわー！タマ！暴力は良くないぜ。
What was up with this guy? I felt ashamed that I mistook him for Satoshi-kun even for a second. He seemed cool at first, but he wasn't as cool as Satoshi-kun after all.
いや、だから、バイクが倒れたのはお気の毒と思いますよ。でもですね、どうか機嫌を直されてですね。どうしたら機嫌を直してくださるんですかね。いや、もちろん私たちはお金なんか持ってないんですがね。
This is how I would probably diffuse a situation, would be like, maybe talk tough at first, but then realize I'm overwhelmed and be like, "Okay guys, come on, let's take a second, let's kind of talk things out."
おお、そうじゃのう。金がのうならっしゃー。体で払ってもおっかないっちゃな。こんな、よう見ると結構イケてるもんな。どうじゃこの後。
Yeah. Hey, are you kidding me? I tightened my grip on the stun gun in my pocket. Then I turned it up at maximum intensity. Don't hold a grudge against me if you die, pervs.
おお、俺んさ、一度かあいこちゃんはべらせて街のべりたくてさ。おるじゃ。もっと着飾ってスカートもミニで。興奮さ。
They indulged in their imaginations, which aroused their spirits. Hey now, why are you perverts closing in on me? Your gross hands are groping the air. Are you gonna try and violate me?
タイトミニもええのう。ミニ。はっしゃー。上から下まで全部色っぽくしゃよ。肌色の面積を限りなく広げて。萌え萌えの姿にしちゃるけ。
あんたら冗談でしょ。その汚い手で私に触れるな。
Then a flash of light cut through the air. Was that the boy? There we go. That's the Keiichi that I know. blows like thunderbolts knock the punks down. I was gonna say, I was like, was this before he got involved with the club activities? Because I'm like, doesn't seem like his usual Keiichi self, where he's got some sort of, plan or some, method of attack. Wow, so he was actually strong after all?
なあ見てこまされたいんか。
お前らは分かっていない。
He's got the girls with him, doesn't he?
分かっていない。
何がじゃ。
タイトミニには萌えがない。そして肌色面積は控えめに。たとえお天道様が西から登ることがあろうとも。
And that's also the Keiichi I know, like a little bit of pervertness, even when he's trying to be a good person.
絶対絶対これは萌え業界の鉄則だ。いいかよく聞け、ど素人ども。ホモ・サピエンスと動物の違いは何か。そう、衣服の着用だ。つまり人は肌以外の衣服の彩りがあって初めて人なのだ。つまり肌色を求めすぎる貴様らは人以下。動物と同じだ。
Shion's like, so are you trying to help me or what? Like,
貴様ら全員を強制する。歯を食いしばれ。先ほどタイトミニを引き合いに出したな。例えばここに美少女と呼ぶにふさわしい女の子がいたとする。美少女と一言に言ってもその裾野は広すぎる。それについて貴様らに抗議することは寿司山芸者から入った外国人に侍の美学を一から説明するより困難この上極まりない。だからここでは最も普及していると思われる制服系で説明することとする。制服系の御三家といえば何か答えてみろ。そうだな、制服、体操服、スクール水着だろう。なおセーラーかブレザーかの好みの違いは制服にカテゴライズするものとする。もちろんブルマーかスパッツかの違いも同様。すく水も紺か白かの違いはあるぞ。カテゴリーは同じ扱いだ。どうだ、これだけでも甘美な響きがするであろう。ではお前ら3人がこれらのうちの一つずつが好みであったと仮定しよう。おい不良 A、 お前は制服だ。不良 B、 お前は体操服。そして不良 C はすく水だ。頭に思い描け。時間は3秒。描けたか。妄想くらい自在にできろ。気合が足りん、やり直せ。ではお前らの望む美少女がここにいてその衣装を着ているぞ。あると思え、あると信じろ。気合を入れろ。返事はオスかさあイエスサーだ。バカ者、それでも軍人か。よーし、描けたようだな。次に進むぞ。それらの萌え衣装と貴様らの馬鹿げた浴場に従いお色気ムンムンなタイトミニスカート姿を見比べてみろ。
oh, okay. Don't know if he's supposed to talk there. Now think, if you take off all their clothes, that's not cosplay anymore, is it?
最近まだ萌えと色気の違いのわからん未熟者が増えているが、実に嘆かわしい。
Humans without clothes aren't civilized, they're animals.
本能でしか女性の魅力を語れない貴様らは犬、猿、キジだ。
This is like the most Keiichi way of taking someone down, is using like his pervertedness to distract and ultimately defeat them.
きびだんごでももらって鬼ヶ島へでも失せろ。 Get back here! ちなみに最近の東西雪解けに従い萌えもいろいろな類が大量に上陸しているな。そんなことも知らんのか愚か者は。制服系と金髪を掛け合わせてアニメ系などという酸素と水素が掛け合わされて能登半島かわいいよ大爆発なんて組み合わせが出ているようだが、本館は断じて認めたりはしないぞ。制服は日本の文化だ、芸術だ。和洋折衷はこの世界には存在しない。貴 さんまだ聞いているのか、軟弱スルメどもが。歯を食いしばれ、今日は徹底的にしごく。貴様らが真の萌え文化を理解できるまで今日は寝られないと思え。はい、指導指導指導。
At that point, I heard a bustle of people running this way.
前原さん、みんな呼んできました。
I saw several kids running towards us. Seemed like our backup had arrived.
くそ、
やばいぞ、つながれ。
The three punks had been standing there agape, but they started running away when they saw that many people.
さすが前原さんですね。
I think that's the closest thing I'm gonna get to a club activity in this chapter.
たった一人であんな怖そうな3人組を釘付けにしちゃうなんて。3人の1人鼻血出してましたね。前原さん、喧嘩も強いなんてすごいです。尊敬します。
俺の固有結界もますます磨きがかかったようだな。今に監督の固有結界メイドインヘブンに太刀打ちできるくらいに磨きをかけてやるぜ。そんなことはいいや。大丈夫かよ、ミオン。
The boy was apparently called Maibara. He turned around to face me. Even the way he mistook me for Mion sounded like Satoshi-kun. But Satoshi-kun isn't a pervert like him.
天下御免のミオンがどんな情け容赦のない必殺技で撃退してみせるかちょっと楽しみにして見てたんだぜ。まあさすがに男が3人がかりじゃきつかったってことか。そんなわけないよな。
I was still confused. I couldn't yet grasp the situation. Who was this guy? Mion had friends like him? I was still spacing out in shock. So I forgot to move until his hand touched my head.
まあなんだ。
Oh, the head touching.
半べそ書いてたのは見なかったことにするからさ。
And even
まあ元気出せ
the
よ。
way that Satoshi said that too, like, oh, I didn't expect you to cry. Rub, rub. The boy called Maibara stroked my head roughly. It didn't feel good. It hurt, actually. But still, his hand had the same warmth. Like, this is how she falls in love with boys, is she has to be rescued in an alley with some guys who are about to attack her. Later on, Mion told me about him. He was called Keiichi Maibara. Keichan for short. He's one grade below us. Not only that, but he just moved to Hinamizawa. Thanks to his attitude and lack of manners, he'd already become an idol in their class. Mion joyously explained all of this. Sure, he sounded like a fun kid. I knew why Mion was into him. But Satoshi-kun is way cooler. He wasn't worth stealing from Sis, or was he? My heart throbbed. I was excited. So literally she only went after Keiichi because she knows Mion likes him. It felt like I'd gotten a new toy. I was curious as to what kind of relationship Mion intended to build with him. That's just cruel, man. Like, she's literally just like, I don't really have any interest in him, but my sister does, so I'm gonna play with him. I'd love to tease her about it.
ありがとう、ケイちゃん。よかったらお礼にお茶でもおごるよ。すぐ近くにおじさんの店があるし、どう？
Satoshi-kun would refuse out of modesty. But Keiichi Maibara said, okay, within 2 seconds. Well then, I couldn't wait to tease the two of them. My boring life suddenly became bright again. Like, that's all she sees.
おい、腕なんかにしがみつくなよ。
I'm not gonna say she only sees boys as like things for her entertainment. She did seem to genuinely love Satoshi. But right now, that's all this is.
あれ？こういうの嫌いですか？
いや、嫌いじゃないけど、胸が当たって、
Oh, I'm trying to think in what context. If I'm not mistaken, it was the other way around in Chapter 2, where it was Keiichi who knocked down the motorcycles, and then Shion/Mion saved him, but now it seems to be the other way around.
胸が当たって何ですって？
Keiichi Maibara was fun. Mion thought the same way I did. She would always talk about him. I was happy for her. It made me smile, but I'm still gonna take him from her.
お姉はケイちゃんのこと本当に気に入ってますね。ズバリケイちゃんの魅力を一言で示すと何です？そうだね。もしも一言でしか言っちゃいけないなら、やっぱり面白いとこかな。そうそう、この間の部活の時にさ。
Mion really liked him, but didn't seem to think it was love yet. She's reserved in that area, so that was really like her. As for me, well, I didn't hate him, but my feelings weren't the same as Mion's. Kei-chan was just too childish compared to Satoshi-kun. I wondered how Satoshi-kun was doing. Was he waiting for things to cool down somewhere far away? The case had already been solved, though. That dopehead was the murderer. There was no reason for him to wait anymore. I shook my head. I shouldn't think about it too much. Oh wait, I know. The case was confidential, so the arrest of the culprit hadn't been made public. So Satoshi-kun hadn't realized he could come back. I know he's a little thick-headed. Maybe he'd be waiting for things to calm down until the end of time. But if so, couldn't he give a call to Sadako at least? He should tell her he's living in a faraway place, but that he'd be coming home soon. Oh, that stupid Sadako. She'd been living with Rika Furude since Satoshi-kun went away, so nobody would pick up the phone even if he called. Stupid girl. Don't you want your big brother to come home? She's still blaming her, huh? Given Satoshi-kun's personality, he wouldn't remember any phone numbers other than his home number, so he wouldn't be able to contact anybody in Hinamizawa. Maybe he's been calling Sadako every night. He keeps ringing, but nobody picks up. Then he'd assume Sadako might be taking a bath or be in the restroom. He put on a puzzled smile while mumbling, like always. I imitated his voice without realizing it.
それでえ、何？何？どうしたの？今シオン何か言わなかった？
I laughed it off and urged Mion to continue. I realized that her tone had changed. I hadn't been listening to her because I was thinking about Satoshi-kun. I thought she was still happily talking about Kei-chan. But Mion sounded grim now. Her faint smile looked pitiful. It was too late to ask what was going on. So instead I concentrated on her story instead.
でね、おじさんが今日は盛り上げてくれてありがとうって言って。
Okay, so this is taking
売り物
place
の人形をみんなに一個
in
ず
the
つ配っ
second
たの。
chapter. Okay. So now we get to see the flip side from Shion's point of view. And we get to see what really happened to her.
私以外の全員に。
Oh, here I was thinking like Shion was gonna be the one who flipped, but it was Mion. But maybe that's gonna change because they are twins. Who's to say that somehow it's not the other way around, right?
お姉以外
I'm
の
not quite
全
sure
員
how
ね。
that would happen or how that would. I don't know. I guess I'll let the story tell me.
そりゃあ私も欲しかったけどさ。
And this is how Shion knew about it, and she teased Keiichi about it.
みんなの手前、私にもちょうだいとは言い出せなかったし。相変わらずお姉は自分の欲しいものを欲しいと言えない人ですね。
Man, I'm so excited to see like what the truth of chapter 2 was. I'm so excited.
それで、
Mion sniffled. I realized she was on the verge of tears.
ケイちゃんの袋にはね、一番可愛いお人形が入ってて、そのお人形が一番欲しかったってわけ？
Oh man, that's so cruel of Shion to do that, knowing how much it meant to Mion, and she just like teased her about it, like flaunting it in her face. I'm not saying that justifies what Mion did, but like of course Mion's my favorite character, so I'm going to be more sympathetic to her.
別に何のお人形だってよかったんだよ。ケイちゃんは私だけもらってないって知ってたのに、私にくれなかった。ミオンには似合わないよなって言って、次に生まれてくるときは男に生まれてこいって言われたんだよ。
That was Keiichi's weak point. He might be fun and popular, but he wasn't mature. Not like Satoshi-kun.
やり直したい。ケイちゃんに出会った最初の頃からやり直して、今度はちゃんと女の子だと思ってもらえるように。
And that's why she,
やり直したい。
yeah, took over as Shion. So I gotta figure out like when it was Mio and when it was Shion during all this. It's been a long time since I've done that chapter, so I'm not quite sure.
おねえ、深刻すぎですって。お姉がやり直したいと思って、しかも向こうが何もトラブってない状態なら全然セーフじゃないですか。互いに傷つき合ってただれちゃうと、まあやり直しも面倒でしょうが。やり直せるかな。ケイちゃんの前で涙を流してないなら、そもそも何も手遅れじゃないんです。お姉がこの場で適当に涙して、明日から心を入れ替えていけば修正可能ですって。うん。そりゃケイちゃんのデリカシーのなさには呆れますけど、その結果は結局今日までのお姉の積み重ねてきた結果なわけですから、今日からの生活を少しずつ改めてポイントを稼ぎ直せばいいだけのことです。生活を改めるってどうやって？お姉に可愛らしくしろって言うと、明日からフリフリの格好で登校しかねませんからね。変に構えないで普段通りに行きましょう。でも細かい部分でこれまでの違いを見せていく。そこがさりげないポイント。あと人形をもらったレナという子には釘を刺しておくこと。現在のケイちゃんの中ではお姉よりもレナの方が高ポイントの可能性が高いです。確かにレナは女の子っぽいしな。可愛いし海外しいし、ライバルがいるならうかうかできませんよお姉。
That's a nice thing to say, is like her friend is her rival now.
涙は男を引き寄せる力がありますけど、つなぎ止めておく力はありません。普段は笑っててポイントで泣く。萌えの典型パターンの一つかもです。私もケイちゃんに実践してみるかな。ダメだよ、ダメ。お姉が気に入る男の子ですからね。私が気に入らない道理はありませんから。さーて、ケイちゃんをどう引き込んでみせようかな。なんならお姉、どっちがケイちゃんの気を引けるか競争しましょうか。
Poor Mio, and she's like coming to, vent her frustrations to her sister, and then her sister is like, let's turn into a game.
やだもう絶対やだ。シオン、ひなみ沢に来たら追い返す。
I'm happy for you, sis. Like, I know it's probably just joking around, but then the later things that happen, it's not really. Like, she really was playing with her, with Keiichi's feelings and Mion's feelings. It's not too late at all. Like, she seems like she's on her side, on Mion's side about wanting to be with Keiichi, but then she goes and kind of, screws it up a bit, but I should be careful about this because maybe everything I know about Chapter 2 is all wrong, so maybe I should temper my opinions for now. It's important to know the distance between the boy you love and yourself, and shift the way you appeal to him to compensate. The boy I love is missing, I don't even know where he is, or when he's coming back. Compared to that, you're very lucky. Mion was saying she'd do her best from tomorrow on with red, tearful eyes, but I sensed a deeply negative feeling emerging inside me. Nobody was blaming Mion for being happy with Keiichi. Oh, Shion just seems jealous, being like, well, you have a chance with him, but the guy I like is gone. Maybe she doesn't fully believe that it wasn't the family that did it. Like, there's still that kind of demon that she's suppressing that's telling her that it was Mion who did it. And we know a murder is going to happen, and I have the feeling because it's focusing on Shion, who's to say it wasn't Shion who is going to murder someone. I wasn't envious. I wasn't jealous. I didn't want her to be blamed the same way I was blamed. It was just that there was no space for Satoshi-kun in Mion's mind anymore, filled as it was with Kei-chan and her other friends now. It didn't matter to her if Satoshi-kun came back, or not. Just like how she didn't care if it was sunny or rainy tomorrow. What about me, then? Had I been thinking about Satoshi-kun all the time for the past year? I wasn't proud of my own answer. I'd become used to life without Satoshi-kun. His absence didn't hurt me anymore. I was getting used to life with Keiichi Maibara. And if I let my guard down, he might just fill up the space I'd been saving for Satoshi-kun. If Shion Sonozaki had prayed harder for Satoshi-kun to return, he might have come home already. Where did Satoshi-kun go? Last year, right after his disappearance, I paid close attention to the information circulating in the Sonozaki family and its underground connections. And I frequently went to the police station to check with Oishi for new information. Even with all that, I couldn't get any new leads on his whereabouts. I eventually became interested in Oishiro-sama's curse, which surrounded Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I researched the dark history of the village. The more I looked into it, the less likely his survival seemed. I'd returned Mio-san's scrapbooks to her, and then I hadn't gone to the library since. I started a new life in a new school. I'd made new friends, and in the same way, as falling leaves cover the ground, I felt like I was losing sight of what was really important to me. It was already almost the end of spring. They said the summer was coming early and it'd be very hot this year. Normally it would be the rainy season now, but we had no rain at all. Watanagashi festival was right around the corner. It'd been almost a year since Satoshi-kun went missing. In Hinamizawa, they don't allow you to talk openly about Oishiro-sama's curse, or the series of mysterious deaths. So everybody acts like the murder of Satoshi-kun's aunt never happened. That's because Satoshi Hojo-kun was a member of the family of traders. He fell victim to Oishiro-sama's curse on the 4th year running. He was demoned away. Everyone was trying to forget about his existence and erase their memories of him. Don't make him disappear because of the curse. Don't erase his existence. Satoshi-kun was living in Hinamizawa just a year ago. He went to school. He was an A student. He was a member of the Hinamizawa Fighters. He could never hit the ball when it really mattered. He was unreliable but pure. He was warm. Because of the curse, people made him disappear. They stopped mentioning his name and acted like he never existed. And I can definitely see why Shion has so much contempt for Hinamizawa, her family, and just the fact that they don't really care about even someone who was in their own village and a member of their village, and they just forgot about him. Like, I can understand where she's coming from, too. A new resident like Keiichi Maibara wouldn't even know him. He seriously believed Satoshi-kun had transferred out. I miss you, Satoshi-kun. I want to go shopping with you again. I want to be in a baseball game with you again, and get a cold drink afterwards. I want to tease you, and I want you to stroke my head again. Your hand was so warm. I felt as if my whole body was being caressed. Satoshi-kun. Alright, I haven't opened this notebook in a while. My feelings have been written down for over 150 pages. This notebook is the key to my heart. The other me who's been sleeping since last year is slowly waking up. The demon is going to come out again. It's just a matter of time. And I am hyped for it. I guess, yeah, the Watanagashi festival is obviously going to bring up not so great feelings. Oh,
まったくケイイチさんのドスケベぶりには呆れましたよ。
the gang's back together again. Are we Keiichi again?
男の子なら仕方がないのですよ。みーちゃんもしーちゃんもケイイチくん困ってるよ。ですってよ、お姉。大岡越前じゃあるまいし、このままケイちゃんが引きちぎれるまで引っ張りっこします。
Okay, we're still Shion.
引っ張りっこなんかしてないよ。シオンが引っ張らなければ済むことでしょ。シオンは沖宮に帰れ。はい、了解。そうしますね。パッと。
I let go of Keiichi suddenly, so he and Sis flew off like a rubber band. I like that they're doing kind of the jump cuts, so we can get to, like, the meat of the story and the meat of the mystery. Keiichi rolled on the ground while Sis was stuck in a bush head first. What lively people.
じゃあケイちゃん。 これ以上からかうとお姉に噛みつかれかねないので、今日はこれで帰りますね。
あ、シオン。そのさ、今日はありがとな。
ああ、あんなのお安いご用です。あの程度で恩が着せられるならいくらでもってくらい。
じゃあまたな、シオン。
His hand landed on my head. Rub, rub, rub. He stroked my head pretty roughly, but the warmth reminded me.
じゃあすみませんね。今日は失礼します。またね、お姉。二度と来るなー。レナは紹介。サトコはトラ。リカちゃんは塩巻いて。
The warmth remained on the top of my head. It felt ticklish and sore. I had to stop. I got off my moped and pushed that aching spot against the telephone pole. I'm sorry, Satoshi-kun. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And there's the apologizing. I never forgot about you. I still remember you. I'm worthless without you. I can't stand life without you because it's gray and cold and boring. It's true. It's true. I can never smile because you aren't here. I can't.
じゃあまたな、シオン。
Keiichi's face appeared in my mind. I recalled the touch of his hand stroking my head. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy. It was rough and painful. I hate that insensitive guy. He's too childish, rude, and cold. He's like a stray dog. I wasn't happy. It wasn't warm. I wasn't happy or overjoyed at all.
サトシ君。
Satoshi-kun mumbled. He didn't know what to say in a situation like this. But he knew that he had better say something. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. So he just mumbled. I'm sorry, Shion. Why are you apologizing, Satoshi-kun? Oh boy, it's not just Keiichi who was talking to Satoshi. I'm the one who should apologize. Even though I said I'd wait for you, even though I believed my heart wouldn't change. My heart is full of holes. You're leaking out from the small cracks in my heart, little by little. You're leaking out from me. Are you suffering because I'm here? Why? You're so precious to me. So don't say that. I've been here with you all this time. But I think I'm hurting you by continuing to exist. I don't want that. That's not true. No. Where have you been, Satoshi-kun? You weren't with me. Tell me where you are. What's the address? What's the postal code? What's the name of the city? What's the street number? Tell me. There isn't an address. Haha. I knew it. Telling me you've always been with me, always by my side. That's such a cliché. Haha. Which do you prefer, Shion? If I can give you strength, I'll stay by your side forever. But if you're suffering because of me, I'll disappear right away.
そんなこと、一緒がいい。一緒がいいよ。サトシ君と、いつまでも一緒がいい。
Okay, I'll stay with you then. A car passed by. The noise snapped me out of my reverie. The sky was turning orange. I should get home before it gets cold. I should go home to Okonomiya. You're with me, right? Are you with me right now, Satoshi-kun? I walk back to my moped. Is this weird? It's just these things where it's like whenever I feel like Shion is gonna murder someone because when Keiichi had Satoshi, she believed, like when Keiichi thought that Satoshi was with him, he murdered someone. And Shion thinks that Satoshi is with her, so I'm like, well, I have a feeling something bad's gonna happen because of it, you know, other than the fact that the very beginning of this episode said that it's gonna lead to murderous intent, so. I walk back to my moped. My feet sank into the grass. Crunch, crunch, crunch. I stopped when I reached my bike. I wonder if there's gonna be the extra footsteps, too. But then I heard, I literally just said it, an extra footstep. I gasped. Here's another thing I need to know about. What is the deal with the extra footstep? I could feel somebody else's presence. I'm not stupid. Nobody else was around here. Nobody had suddenly appeared behind me. So I wasn't surprised to find nobody when I turned around. But he was definitely still there.
サトシ君
I couldn't see him, but he was there. He was there for me. Satoshi-kun never lies. He said he'd be with me all the time. I'd just been too insensitive to feel his existence until now. This music is kind of tripping me out. I like it, though. It's kind of creepy, but kind of nice at the same time.
サトシ君サトシ君
A breeze tickled my hair. It felt cold, but to me it was nothing but the warmth of his hand. It took me a while to notice my cheeks were wet with tears. Okay. I am liking this already. It feels like it's really starting to pick up now. I was too scared to sleep. If I went to sleep, I might not find Satoshi-kun there in the morning, so I kept talking to him until I passed out. I told him about what happened while he was missing. I told him I realized how much I loved him after he went away. I'd searched for him, looking into various different things. I'd gathered underground information through Kasai and bargained for police information with Oishi. But I couldn't find any leads. A long time passed, but I kept thinking about him. Etc., etc. I told him all the small details from my daily life. The places I wanted to go with him. The things I wanted to do with him. The food I wanted to share with him. And I told him a lot of things. I was sitting up at first, but I got tired, so I lay down. I got tired of moving my mouth too, so I started talking to him in my mind. It was the happiest night I'd ever had. When I woke up, I didn't find Satoshi-kun by my side. I knew it somehow. I was afraid of it. That was why I didn't want to go to sleep. But at least I got to see him for one night. Just when I'd resigned myself to that, I felt Satoshi-kun's presence again. It wasn't a dream after all. I thank God. And so I began my strange life with Satoshi-kun. Oh boy. Strange is right. As promised, Satoshi-kun was always by my side. He couldn't laugh, mumble, or stroke my head. But he was always with me. Always right by my side. He disappeared sometimes, but he'd come back when I looked for him. It seemed that all I could hear was his footsteps. That's just the way it was. It was a bit sad, but I was still satisfied. His presence was really faint, so it was hard to sense him in a crowd. But he never left me. If he were tangible, I'd be taking his hand all the time so he wouldn't be lost. In contrast, I could feel him very strongly in a quiet environment. Of course, I couldn't tell what his expressions were because he was just a presence. But after I got used to it, I could tell what he was thinking. At first, I could only tell if he were laughing or not. Eventually, I started to feel his emotions more strongly. I could communicate with him normally. I was usually alone with him, though. I didn't want to go to school or hang out with my friends anymore. But Satoshi-kun got upset about that. He kept mumbling unhappily. Now that I knew he'd always be with me, I shouldn't just stay home all the time. I was sticking to my time alone with him, however, because I was scared he might suddenly disappear again, and I wanted to make the most of the time I was sharing with him right now. I must have been worrying too excessively. Satoshi-kun will always be by my side. Yeah, that was his promise. He never breaks his promises. I was fine because he was there. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody about him, not even Sis. I could try to explain it to them, but they never understand. But I was certain that he was with me. So, I'd be alright. Oh, here. I never get fed up with life with him. He's really cute, you know. We always walk together, but when I stop, he always walks one extra step. That's so adorable. I love it. Oh boy. Is girl going cuckoo bananas, or is there an actual presence?
シオンさんはどうなさいますか？
Tough to say.
今夜の綿流しのお祭りは。
行って適当に遊ぶつもりです。お姉とその愉快な仲間たちでもからかうかな。
I wanted to go to the festival with Satoshi-kun, but that's the thing is, like, she still teased Keiichi and was kind of flirting with him a bit, so she definitely, if she assumes Satoshi is with her, then she's definitely just doing that to piss off Mion. I knew he liked to see me having fun with everybody. He might get jealous if I play with Kei-chan, but Satoshi-kun isn't very sensitive in that way. Satoshi-kun loved to see me and my friends have fun, so I should have a lot of fun for his sake. Then I talk about the day with him later.
何でひなみ沢に行きますか？
At least she seems to not hate Sadako anymore. There's still a little bit of, like, she talks about Sadako being stupid and stuff, but at least she doesn't have, like, that murderous intent that she had before.
車で行くならお送りしますよ。
スクーターで行くからいいや。
それはいけません。帰りに本家に寄られて親類の宴会に加わられるんでしょ？居眠り運転などさせられません。
He won't let me drive. But he's kind enough to let me drink.
じゃ、お世話になりますかね。
わかりました。では夕方に出発しましょう。そのくらいの頃にお迎えに参ります。
Alright, and we're getting into Watanagashi pretty quickly too, which is great. After Kasai left, I sensed that Satoshi-kun was excited about going to the festival.
綿流しか。サトシ君がいなくなっちゃってから、もうすぐ1年になるんだね。
Satoshi-kun seemed confused.
ムー。でしょ？
We laughed together. I imagine Kasai just being outside the door being like, what the fuck?
いらっしゃい。
Yay! I mean, I know bad things are gonna happen, but whenever I hear the music, I can't help but get a little, like, pumped up.
はいよ、網とお椀。
よし、やるぞ。金魚はみんな生きがいいね。実に美味しそう。この小さいのなんかそのままボリボリと生でいけちゃうよね。
Huh?
ミオンさんは何を言ってるんでございますの？みーちゃん、食べてたの？去年レナからもらったのも食べちゃったの？違う。私そんなこと言ってない。
Sis shook her head hard. She turned all red.
いやでも今ミオンお前自分で言ったぞ。
It's still so weird to actually see Keiichi.
実に美味しそうだって。
確かに言いました。お姉って雑食ですから口に入れば何でも食べちゃうんです。
美味しいなら今度僕も試してみるのです。ダメだよリカちゃん、お腹壊しちゃうよ。
ちょっと待て。おいこら、お前いつの間にいるんだよ。シオン。
はーい、ケイちゃんにお姉にみんなこんばんは。あんたどこから湧いてきたのシオン？焼きそば屋さんの時からずっとです。お姉たちは騒がしいからすぐに見つけられました。もうあんたは関係ないでしょ。早くどっか行きなさいよ。もうお姉もあまり私を邪険にしないでくださいね。ケイちゃん、私が一緒でもいいですよね。
I took Kei-chan's arm and held it between my breasts. Puff, puff. We were going to have a ball. I went around the booths with Sis and her friends. I joked around and laughed out loud. I teased Kei-chan and Sis, too. Kei-chan was at the center of the group, so if I did something to him, it naturally involved everybody else. It looked like Satoshi-kun was having a hard time finding his own spot in the crowd. When I glanced at him in a quiet moment, he smiled and told me to have fun without worrying about him. If he were tangible, I'd pull his arm to join the crowd. It made me sad that I couldn't do that. I bumped into somebody's shoulder. It was obviously my fault, so I apologized right away. As it turned out, it was somebody I knew. It's Toмотake and Takano.
楽しんでるみたいね。こんばんは、しおんちゃん。月の綺麗な晩ね。
あれ、すごいお久しぶりですね、高野さん。それから。
そうだね。挨拶をするのはこれが初めてだね。僕は富武。みおんちゃんの双子の妹さんだって話は聞いてるよ。
よろしくです、富武さん。凄腕のカメラマンとのお噂だとか。ぜひ今度私も映してくださいね。
デビューを夢見て投稿を繰り返す素人だけどね。
そんなことないわよ。二郎さんは上手よ。いろいろとね。
いやいや、まだまだ勉強が足りないよ。才能に恵まれない分を努力で補わないとね。
They must have been in a relationship.
高野さんと富武さん、仲がよろしいようで、私はお邪魔ですかね。
あらあら。ご検察痛み入るけど、お気遣いは結構よ。それに高野なんて、なんだか他人行儀みたいな呼び方ね。
You know Takano's probably going to launch into a big thing about Oishiro because she's like, oh, my buddy, my Hinamizawa Dark Tales buddy, let's talk.
昔みたいに、みよって呼んでくれていいのに。
やっぱり目上の人にファーストネーム呼びつけはちょっと気になるものでして。まあ気にしないでください。
I smiled bashfully, and Takano-san smiled back elegantly.
あれから図書館には来ないのね。研究の同志としてもっともっといろいろお話ししたかったのに。
まあ気が向いたらそのうちってことで。
研究の同志ってまさかしおんちゃんも興味があるのかい？この村の昔話とかに。
Toмотake-san raised his eyebrows. As far as I knew, Takano-san's hobby wasn't exactly normal. On the surface, her research dealt with the cultural history of ancient Hinamizawa, but its main focus was the Watanagashi festival from ancient times. The cannibal banquet in which they captured and gutted a living sacrifice. Her research covered various stories surrounding that, and other legends of cruelty. It was nothing if not gory. That was where her main interest lay. So I didn't feel comfortable being called a fellow researcher, to be honest. But objectively speaking, her research notes were fun to read. It was then that I heard the loud booms of the taiko drums. The main event of the Watanagashi festival, the dedication dance, was about to start, and this is when they all go to the warehouse. According to Takano-san's hypothesis, the part of the dance where the shrine maiden tears open a futon mat represents gutting a living victim.
いよいよ始まりますね。そろそろ私も行くかな。高野さんたちも見に行くんですよね。リカちゃまの儀式。
ん？うん。
Tomitake-san looked bewildered. Did that mean he wasn't coming? Takano-san giggled and whispered in my ear.
実はね、これから西宮殿の中に入ってみようと思うの。
え？
She made it sound like she was going to do something fun, but it wouldn't be amusing to anyone who knew what the ritual storehouse was. The ritual storehouse, or the storehouse for ritual implements, is sort of a treasure house belonging to the Furaday shrine. I'd heard that Oyashiro-sama's sacred treasures were stored in there. Only people from the Furaday family and selected members of the other 3 families are allowed to enter. They believe that if other people enter, the place will be desecrated. Everybody in Hinamizawa must have been curious about what was in there when they were kids. But the storehouse was always tightly locked. You couldn't just peek into it either. Kids would get chided if they played around it, so they learned to stay away. I didn't like being around it myself, since I was familiar with all that. Even though I didn't believe in curses, I still didn't want to be near it. Nothing good can come from breaking the rules. This is coming from Shion, who seems to kind of enjoy skirting rules. Were they still going to enter the ritual storehouse despite all that?
でも確かものすごい厳重な鍵がかかってたと思いましたよ。
去年まではね。前の缶抜きじゃ重すぎて大変だとリカちゃんが言ったらしいの。それで今年からものすごく安っぽい南京錠に変わったの。知ってた？
いえ、知りません。でも安っぽいと言ったって錠前がかかってますよ。
二郎さんね、とて
開けられるんですか？
It's weird here, she seems very apprehensive about it, but when she was in chapter 2, she seemed very, interested and excited to go in. Maybe Takano convinced her somehow.
綿流しの儀式が始まれば全員が儀式に集まるでしょ。西宮殿の周りには人影は全くなくなる。今夜が一番の資格なの。
The only reason I could think that Shion would go in there is if it had something to do with maybe her getting some information about Satoshi.
東大元暮らしとでも言うのかしらね。
According to her hypothesis, the ancient tools used for human dissection and torture would be found in the ritual storehouse.
よかったら後でこっそりいらっしゃいな。二度とないチャンスよ。じゃあよかったら後でね。
高野さん、何の内緒話だい？
女同士の内緒話よ。行きましょう。暗くて人気のないところへ合いびきに。
ん
Takano-san walked against the flow of the crowd along Tomitake-san. The ritual storehouse, huh? It was supposedly filled with torture tools. Considering what they had in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki house, that's quite possible. Satoshi-kun fell victim to the curse in the 4th year. His aunt's death was the sign of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Satoshi-kun was the sacrifice to pacify Oyashiro-sama's anger. That was what Takano said last year. It was just her hypothesis. At present, I wanted to deny her hypothesis because I wanted to believe that Satoshi-kun was still alive. If her hypothesis was correct, either some religious fanatic or somebody from the 3 families must be imitating the curse in order to revive the ancient custom of Onagafuchi. That would mean that it was them who killed Satoshi-kun. So what if... Okay, well, yeah, it's interesting, because in the 2nd chapter, we didn't really know Shion's motive for wanting to go in there. It just seemed like she was just interested in this, but now we're getting kind of more of a backstory. What if the ritual storehouse was filled with garbage instead of torture implements? Maybe it was filled with broken palanquins or freshly painted signboards for the festival. What then? It wasn't really hard for me to believe that it was filled with the chemical smell of paint. Maybe I'll get to deny the hypothesis that Satoshi-kun was sacrificed by seeing the inside of the ritual storehouse for myself. Whatever was in there, it didn't mean that Satoshi-kun would come back.
サトシ君、どうしよう。
Since most people went to see Rika-chama's ritual dance, the festival grounds were deadly quiet. Even so, I couldn't sense Satoshi-kun. Did he go somewhere, or was I not paying enough attention? Or maybe he wasn't feeling any emotions in particular. After thinking for a while, I decided to go in with them. And that was the decision that might have just... Once again, I don't know what actually happened in Chapter 2, if it was Mion who killed Shion, or if it was a flip and somehow it was Shion who killed Mion, but this just feels this is where everything just went tits up. It had been almost a year since Satoshi-kun's disappearance. I'd been avoiding the truth because I was afraid he might be dead. But now I had a chance. I had a chance to see the inside of the ritual storehouse. I felt as though something divine had arranged that coincidence. On my way to the storehouse, I noticed Keiichi. He was jumping up and down, trying to see Rika-chama's dedication dance over people's shoulders. If I took him along, we could split the guilt. Oyashiro-sama might put a curse on me for entering his divine storehouse. I wanted a partner in crime. Since the boy I loved disappeared last year because of the curse. Maybe Mion's... Oh my gosh, wow. What a horrible way to... Oh, Shion, just when I start to feel a little bit of sympathy for you. Maybe Mion's love should disappear this year.
何考えてんの私。
Exactly. I was like, that's the demon, right? I can't just excuse all of Shion's nasty thoughts by saying it's the demon, but that's pretty nasty even for her. That must have been the demon inside of me. I shook the thought out of my head.
どうしたんだよシオン。それより奉納演舞がよく見えるとこってまだ遠いのか？
え？奉納演舞がよく見えるなんて誰が言いました？
It's so cool to see it from, like, the flipped way instead of Keiichi. We made it to the ritual storehouse. Keiichi was baffled by the whole situation. Our timing had been perfect. I could see Tomitake-san picking the lock. Even though Keiichi must have been curious, he insisted we shouldn't go in. But I talked him into it anyway. He was quick to change his mind when Tomitake-san joined in. It was completely dark inside, so Takano-san lit a battery-powered lantern. A small entry space appeared before us.
真っ暗だね。みんな転ばないように気をつけるんだよ。
ご心配ありがとう。じゃあ門番をよろしくね。ここ閉めるわよ。
Takano-san closed the door with a smile, as if leaving Tomitake-san out on purpose.
やれやれ。じゃあみんなゆっくり楽しんでおいで。
As soon as the heavy door was closed, we were surrounded by a quiet darkness. All we could rely on was Takano-san's lantern.
大丈夫よ。予備電池も入ってるアウトドア仕様なんだから。消えたりなんかしないわよ。
Takano-san teased Keiichi a little. Keiichi, in turn, looked a little pale. He seemed to be able to recognize the sanctity of the building, even though he wasn't from Hinamizawa. Or he had like a moment of lucidity where he's like, wait a minute, this has happened before. I know what's going to happen.
よいしょ。
After Takano-san opened the heavy inner door, a dusty, foul smell flowed out. It was like the smell of a pantry that hadn't been opened in years, and the smell of a fish market mixed together. I didn't exactly know how to describe it, but it was a bad smell. From listening to the echoes of our footsteps, I could tell this room was much bigger than the one we were just in. When Takano-san raised her lantern, I could clearly see just how big it was. At the far side of the wall, there was a statue of some kind of god staring down at us intruders. The way it was lit by the lantern gave it a powerful appearance, and it scared me.
あれがひなみ沢の守り神。お社様よ。
I looked up at the statue, which was holding its religious ornaments. If Satoshi-kun's disappearance really was a curse, I couldn't forgive this god. I found myself irritated by the way the statue looked down on me. Damn you, Oyashiro-sama. If you really made Satoshi-kun disappear, I'll never forgive you. Never. Keiichi didn't seem to understand the significance of the storehouse. He looked bored. Takano-san noticed that and took out her scrapbooks to show him the brutal history of ancient Hinamizawa. I'd heard that story already, so I decided to walk around by myself. Since I knew the significance of all these tools, I felt a little nauseated. Though they certainly wouldn't jump out to me, I still found them intimidating. They looked as though they were craving fresh blood after not being used in hundreds of years. All the tools looked similar to the ones I saw in the underground torture room at the Sonozaki main house. If those tools were the progenies of torture implements, these would be their ancestors. All the implements here looked old. I doubted they could really be used. They weren't kept maintained like the ones at the Sonozaki house. So, did that mean they shouldn't scare me? No, on the contrary. They told me that cruel rituals were indeed performed in this village at one point. Now that I found scary. What Takano-san told me was the truth. When I stopped, Satoshi-kun also stopped behind me one step later. I felt no emotional change in Satoshi-kun. I couldn't tell if he was feeling something or not. I knew he was there, but I had no idea how he was feeling. I felt scared of him for the first time. If he could answer me, I'd want to ask him, who demoned you away?
ね、サトシ君、聞いてる？
I couldn't tell if he heard me or not. He left, as if he didn't hear anything. I could tell he'd been sulky ever since we got here. I suddenly felt lonely, so I looked for him while walking around. I realized then that there was an altar in front of the statue. He might be there. It was a clean altar. An altar ornamented with religious artifacts. It was kept well maintained. I saw no dust. That would mean, well, the flowers in the vase weren't wilting. I saw a pretty handkerchief under the vase. It looked out of place amongst everything else. I was fairly certain it was Rika Furude's handkerchief. That would mean that the storehouse is maintained daily. It wasn't a forgotten ruin buried in dust. So the brutality that dwelled in this ritual storehouse is still alive and well in Hinamizawa. That's right. Something as ambiguous as Oyashiro-sama's curse is nothing more than a simple delusion of the villagers. As Takano-san said, everything that happens in this world is done by humans. I'd accused Oyashiro-sama of demoning away Satoshi-kun, but Oyashiro-sama is just a statue made of bronze or wood. Ooh, now I'm thinking even more. Ooh. So, the whole thing with Mion, when she killed Rika and Sadako, I just thought that was so completely out of character for her. But if it was Shion disguised as Mion who called Rika and Sadako over, well, she might blame Rika since she saw Rika's handkerchief and she knows that Rika comes here, so maybe she thinks Rika might have had something to do with it. And Sadako, well, we know that she just straight up doesn't like Sadako and she blames Sadako for Satoshi's disappearance or something somehow. Now I'm starting to think even more that all this time we thought that it was Mion who was doing it. Maybe it was Shion disguised as her. Because the thing is, the only way that we could tell the difference between Mion and Shion is the tattoo. And I never saw it. Never saw it, so it's nothing but an icon. There are, however, human beings who would try to make that icon seem real. The series of mysterious deaths in Hinamizawa is the result of human action. It shouldn't be called Oyashiro-sama's curse. So it's like she blames people who... What's the word I'm thinking of? People who believe in Oyashiro-sama and who, you know, maybe want to carry out his will. So she's going to blame them for Satoshi and she's going to go on a rampage and just kill them all. If Satoshi-kun was the fourth year's victim, then he was victimized by a human being who was just acting the part of a curse. The person who demoned away Satoshi-kun must not have been very far from me. The truth behind Satoshi-kun's disappearance was not so far from my grasp. Thump. I was startled by the sound. It sounded like someone had dropped something. I looked over at Takano-san and Keiichi. Takano-san was still lecturing him. Did she drop her scrapbook or something? Thump, thump, thump. Ooh, the sound came from right behind me, not from them. I'd never heard Satoshi-kun do that. It sounded like somebody was stomping on the floor in frustration. What is it? Thump, thump, thump. The sound continued, ignoring my question. Oh yeah, because then she asked them, did you guys hear that thumping noise? Though I heard it right nearby, it sounded as though a child was hopping on a wooden floor somewhere distant.
どうしたの？サトシ君、何か怒ってるの？
I couldn't read his expressions. I thought he was mad, but I didn't sense any emotion from him at all. Was he mad that I touched the altar? Maybe you weren't supposed to do that. Thump, thump, thump. It's not that I'd been able to communicate with Satoshi-kun in a concrete way. I just talked to him. I was never expecting him to react like that. I didn't sense a willingness to communicate from this creepy sound. Then a chill ran up my spine. I felt as if all my pores were opening. I'd been thinking it was Satoshi-kun stomping on the floor. Hey, you. You're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? The sound stopped when I asked that. It wasn't a yes or no, just silence. Satoshi-kun wouldn't scare me like that. I realized suddenly that the sound hadn't come from Satoshi-kun. A cold shiver shot through my feet, and I sprung a step backward. The sound had come from right there. Even though I jumped back, it was still a few meters away. Satoshi-kun would sometimes let me hear his footsteps when I walked. But if that wasn't Satoshi-kun, then there was no guarantee I'd hear its footsteps. So that invisible being could already be right in front of my eyes. And I just wouldn't see it? I forgot everything and ran, straining my ears as much as possible for any sound, listening for any footsteps pursuing me. I ran right into Keiichi and clung to him, timidly turning back to look. The dimly lit area before the altar was quiet, like nothing was happening. But seeing that chilling, dark stillness, realizing I was just in that space, made me even more frightened now.
どうしたよ、シオン。ひょっとして怖くなった？
Keiichi made fun of me. Even though he'd looked horrified just a little while ago, he now looked satisfied to see me scared too.
お化け屋敷で女の子がしがみついてくるのはデフォじゃないですか。まんざらでもないくせに。ほらほら、行きましょう。高野さんに置いてかれます。
I pretended to be fine, but I wasn't sure if I was able to hide my fear entirely. The footsteps were chasing me. They were outside the illumination of the lantern, as if they couldn't go into the light. The presence never left us, however. It followed us like a fourth member of the party. Sometimes it made a stomping sound as if wanting some recognition, but neither Takano-san nor Keiichi seemed to notice it. It was possible for Takano-san to be ignoring it, but Keiichi would never ignore it. If he could hear it, he would have said something. So, just like with Satoshi-kun, only I could hear it. What was this thing that was making me so scared? Was it Satoshi-kun in a bad mood? Or was it possible the presence I believed to be Satoshi-kun might not have been him at all? Thump. Thump. What are you upset about, Satoshi-kun? Tell me if I did something wrong. I'll apologize. Thump. 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 If you aren't Satoshi-kun, then where did he go? When did you take his place? Thump. Thump. Thump.
シオン、大丈夫か？
はい、全然平気ですよ。それよりケイちゃんこそ顔面蒼白でかなりヤバげかと。
なら、あまり俺の服を引っ張りすぎないでくれると嬉しいんだけどな。
あ、こりゃ失礼です。
あらあら、私はお邪魔かしら？
I decided to engage in the conversation to help myself ignore the sound from behind. I didn't hear the sound as much, and it became a bit more distant. Yeah, I shouldn't pay attention to it. It wouldn't bother me if I didn't hear it. I should just ignore the noise.
で、高野さんはその風習が実は現代にも残っているんじゃないかと思って研究をしてるんです。そうでしたよね。
Thump thump.
これ本当に内緒なんだからね。しおんちゃんは理解のある人だから話したけど、他の村人には聞かれたくないの。下手をしたら罰当たり者ってことで袋叩きにされかねないんだから。
She smiled at me like a witch. Thump thump.
前原くんも内緒にしてね。知られたら私、お社様のたたりに会うか、生贄にされちゃうかするかもしれない。たたりなら今年はどんな死に方をさせられちゃうのかしら。生贄なら鬼ヶ淵の沼に生きたまま沈められちゃうのかしら。そういえば今夜よね。お社様のたたりがある夜は。
It certainly is. If the curse strikes for a fifth time, it'll happen tonight. Thump thump thump. Takano-san pulled out an old scrapbook from her paper bag and started turning the pages. She opened it to the page with that one article. It was the article about the brutal murder of a Watanagashi victim. It happened in the Meiji era.
これは実際にあったお話よ。明治の終わり頃にね。鬼ヶ淵村で身元不明の惨殺死体が発見されたんですって。
Thump 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 thump.
かくも無残かつ残虐非道を。
Thump, thump, thump. Hey, you guys seriously don't hear that? It's freaking loud. How can you not hear it? Oh, hell, it's freaking noisy. Cut it out already. Oh, and the next moment, we all heard a squeaking noise. We turned around in surprise. It was just Tomitake-san opening the door.
驚かせちゃったかな？
あら、二郎さんも見たくて我慢できなくなったかしら？ここ、素敵な拷問道具の宝庫よ。
僕は遠慮させてもらうよ。生来ね、こういうのは苦手なんだ。
Takano-san laughed as if making fun of Tomitake-san for being such a scaredy cat.
それより、演舞とセレモニーが終わって、みんな沢の方に降りていったよ。あと何分もしないうちにお祭りは終わっちゃう。
Time was up. I'd never expected that Tomitake-san would save me from this nightmare. His face suddenly looked heroic.
ケイチ君も出るかい？
もう十分に見ましたので。シオン、もういいだろ。出ようぜ。綺麗な空気が吸いたいよ。
同感です。出ましょう。
I went into the entry room and turned around. Takano-san was taking photos in a mad rush, though our time was up. I didn't hear that sound anymore. I didn't feel that presence. I didn't feel Satoshi-kun either. But somehow I wasn't too sad about that. Even if he followed me out here, I wouldn't be able to tell if it was really him or somebody else. Okay, so after this, Watanagashi is pretty much over. This is when I'm really excited. All the stuff with Shion and Mion and the murders. This is what I want to know, like what really happened. But before we end this episode, got a couple of notebooks to read. 172, 173, 179. Okay. That underground torture room is officially called the Underground Ritual Storehouse. So do torture room and ritual storehouse mean the same thing? According to Takano-san's theory, bloody rituals, including Watanagashi, have been passed down among the three families even after the Meiji era. The rituals are always ready to be performed. Their form of worship always revolved around torture, so Hinamizawa's history involved a great deal of human slaughter. Takano-san's theory is correct. The underground storehouse at the Sonozaki house looked well maintained. Takano-san is right about that too. Since the Sonozaki family and the Furide family both have ritual storehouses, the Kimiyoshi family must have one too. After all, these ancient and brutal customs are still handed down through the generations. I should remain armed with the knowledge that occult events are still secretly being performed in this cursed village. The sanctity of the ritual storehouse is one of the most prominent elements in the worship of Oyashiro-sama. Of course, I knew that, since I'm originally from Hinamizawa. But violating that sanctity is actually a more serious problem than I thought. Takano-san's research shows that the history of the ritual storehouse goes way back. The ritual implements within have long been viewed as inviolable objects, which is why it was strictly forbidden to enter. Takano-san's theory says that Watanagashi was once a public execution, performed to stabilize the reign of the three families, rather than a purely religious ritual. If so, the ritual should hardly be called sacred. Under those circumstances, the implements should have been despised as symbols of hatred and fear. When instruments of fear are too visible, it only creates a reign of terror. But keep them as hidden as possible, and they gain divinity. Many said they would become tainted if laymen touched them. The only reason for that was to preserve their false prestige through secrecy, since they would lose their sanctity if revealed before the common folk. In other words, the true identity of the ritual storehouse sacredness was fear. That was the true emotion ruling over this village. Ooh, this music is creepy. The reason why Takano's... Okay, so this happened after Takano and Tomatake were murdered. The reason why Takano-san and Tomatake-san were cursed is because they broke into the ritual storehouse. I don't know how the villagers found out about it. Maybe somebody was watching. Maybe there was an anti-theft alarm. Either way, our intrusion must have been reported to the highest level of the curse system. That's because, considering the distance between the village and the site where Takano-san's body was found, she must have been killed right after we came out of the ritual storehouse. It was done very quickly. It's possible a special assassination team exists for this purpose, or that the plan had been set up a long time ago. They might have been secret agents of the Sonozaki family, but the latter sounds more valid. But if so, who would have been the victim if nobody broke into the ritual storehouse? Alright, now we are getting into the paranoia aspect of Shion after it all happened, where she's like, I'm going to be next, and Keiichi's going to be next. Alright, so that will wrap up this episode. I can only imagine things are really going to pick up in the next episode, because we've had the Watanagashi festival happen. According to Shion's notes, like, Takano and Tomatake are already murdered, so it's at the point right now where we are going to start to, like, get into the Mion Shion thing, hopefully soon. Like, that's my big thing, is who actually did what. Did it actually transpire the way that it did in Chapter 2? Or is it flipped? Is it different somehow? I'm guessing it probably is. So, I can't wait. I can't wait to find out what actually is the truth of that whole situation. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and be sure to stay tuned for the next one. Until next time, bye guys.